So today I'm working on a Goodman furnace, and the blower fan started making a rumbling noise, and noticed that the motor was bad. So I ordered a new motor. I got it from a place called Uzio Heat and Air Supply. I thought I'd give them a try. The motor was $115. Everywhere else, like on Amazon, it was $260. So the motor is an exact replacement. There's just wire for wire, so just put it back together. I'll show you what I did. The next clip will show what the motor sounded like. So on this project, you'll be working with electricity. If you don't feel comfortable working with it, just hire a licensed electrician. Otherwise, you need to turn the main breaker off and the switch at the unit. As far as the motor, where I got it from Uzio's. I will put the link in the description down below. Always check my description, and it'll have updates and also part numbers and stuff like that. Turn your switch off next to the furnace. Turn the breaker off to the furnace. Unscrew your bottom cover. These two screws here. Pull that off. Now that the power's off, you can unplug your connectors. Unplug this one. Unplug this one. Unplug this one. And then be best to take a picture of your thermostat wires and also your motor wires. After you've made a note of your thermostat wiring, then go ahead and unwire these wires. To remove the thermal, just pull this to the side. That pops out. Just lay it to the side. And then we need to get these two screws out. This one right here, and this one right here. So I'll pull those out, and then I'll show you what's next. Once you get all your wires unhooked and the two screws out from up there, you can pull this out like this. Let it drop, and then when you drop it, let it spin just a little bit, and it'll come right out. To get the right motor, you need to look at this number right here in this corner here. I don't know if the video is going to show you. So this motor was rumbling pretty bad. So if you move it left and right, grab the shaft right here and push it left and right. It's got that much play in it. Shouldn't have any play in it. Here's the new motor. Has 0 play in it. You can also lift up and down, push up and down on the squirrel cage. See, hear that? It's got slop in the bearing. It's just wore out. On this particular motor, we're just going to have these 4 leads right here. Black, blue, red, orange. And then you got the white right here, the neutral. You also have the 2 capacitors here. Now before you touch these, you want to short these out and make sure it's not charged up. Just run a screwdriver across it or something. Make sure they're shorted out so they won't shock you. Go ahead and loosen the bolt or nut or whatever you have, or screw, whatever you have on your squirrel cage. Loosen that, and then we'll take the motor off. This 11-in-1 tool just does everything. I've used just this one tool and then a wrench. This one fits perfect on these too. Take all these loose. What I did to get this off, just jerk that up like that, and it should come off. If it can't come off, you might have to get a special puller to get it off the shaft if it's stuck. So here's the motor shaft, how bad it is. And here's the new one. So if you want to get the squirrel cage out to clean it or spray it off, whatever you want to do, you'll have to remove this piece here by taking a screw off on this side and the one on this side right here. Oh, and I forgot two screws. These two screws right here also. Now you can take the squirrel cage out and go clean it up. And we'll spray it off. After you get it nice and clean, go ahead and take a leaf blower to it and get all the water out of it. The reason you want to clean it is you don't want this thing to get out of balance and ruin your next motor either. So you want to clean it real good. That's why it has these weights on here, because it's balanced from the factory. But once the dirt collects on there, it could get out of balance and ruin another motor. When you put the squirrel cage back in, make sure you put it in the right way so you can access the bolt to tighten it down on the shaft of the motor. Then when you put this piece back in, make sure you do these side bolts first, and then do these bolts last. All right, I centered up the squirrel cage in there, and then I can just drop this motor right in on that shaft and then bolt it down in the right spot and wire it back up. Get these in the right spot. The only problem I'm having with this installation is the ring terminal on the old motor was bigger than the new one, so I have to replace this ring terminal. So I'm putting the ground wire on this one over here so the wire is stretched a little bit so it won't get sucked into the fan. So let's tighten all these screws up and then we'll put it back in. So before you tighten up your screw, make sure your squirrel cage fan is centered in here. And I would put just a drop of Loctite on it, some 242 blue Loctite. Make sure your bolt's tight and you're bolting onto the flat of the shaft for the motor. Now let's wire this thing back up. It was black, blue, red, orange, and the white went here. So we'll get the black out first. Black, blue, red, orange, and then the two browns go to the capacitor. There's no polarity on these. What I'd like to do is tie wrap these up so they're not going to be flopping around anywhere. So I'll get some tie wraps for that. All right, that's all complete. Now it's time to install it back in there. So I'm gonna have to tilt it forward, put it in, tilt it back. Now I gotta lay down and guide it up into the slots. Just got to be a little bit patient to get it started up in the slots, and once you get it up in there, then push it on back. Make sure it goes all the way back. There we go. Now we'll put the two screws in at the top. We'll reinstall the sensor. This here will be next. Now it's time to put the thermal sensor back in. Put it like this thing, and let's see, put that in there, push it like that, and start plugging things back in. Plug these two back together. This one plugs in here, and let's see, I got one right here. This red and black needs to go up here. That should be polarized. They can only go in one way. So black, blue, red, orange. And we have the white hooked up. Okay, everything's good to go. Now I just put the thermostat wire back in and I'll fire it up. Alright, I got the thermostat wires back in the correct spots. If you forgot what colors went where, they're pretty easy, because yellow is Y, white is W, red is R. It's easy. Just follow those. I'll turn the breaker back on. Alright, got the cover back on. Put the switch back on. Yep, now it's nice and quiet. It doesn't rumble anymore.